Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Peterson. Thank you for reaching out for my assistance with your tax issue. I've examined the information that you've given me, and I've come up with a response to your family's issue. First, let me go over the facts that you've given me here. Your daughter, Jamie, you listed as your dependent. She recently completed her first semester in college, and the tuition for this year was $11,000. And you are curious about ways to offset the higher education costs, but you're not sure if you qualify because your adjusted gross income is now over $200,000. I understand you have a question about dropping Jamie as a dependent so she can get her educational credits against her own tax return. I understand that you want to take advantage of this, and I will first consult my primary authority of regulation 1.25A-1, and this relating to your issue states that if a student is claimed to be a dependent of a taxpayer, only that taxpayer may claim the education tax credits for the student's qualified tuition and related expenses. If a taxpayer does not claim the student as a dependent, only the student can claim the education tax credit for tuition and related expenses. And for you, this means that Jamie may file separately, but you may not both use the educational tax credit. This is to prevent people from double dipping with their taxes. If Jamie is listed as a dependent, then the only people that can get a tax credit would be the two of you. And if Jamie were to be filed separately, only she could get the benefit of the educational credit through the Hope Scholarship and the Lifetime Learning Credit. As a result of this, she would not be able to get a personal exemption from her own tax return, though. And according to Regulation 1.25A1F, if the taxpayer's AGI is very high, as it is in your case here, and would phase out of the dependency exemption, you may neglect to claim the dependency exemption, allowing the student to claim an educational credit. This is assuming there's a tax liability that can be negated by the educational credit. The dependent can then attempt to claim the Hope Scholarship and the Lifetime credits. This means if Jamie has some tax liability that she could negate it with the educational credit under her own separate tax returns. Unfortunately here, I don't have any information about the income of Jamie. It only states that she's your daughter, she's your dependent, and she's a full-time student who just completed her first semester. It seems like she wouldn't have any money. If Jamie has no income or no tax liability for the year, then it wouldn't matter if she filed separately. If she had tax income, though, she could offset her tax liabilities by her educational credits. So in conclusion, Jamie can file with her own separate tax return from the family, but she and only she will be able to claim the educational credits. The one situation where this will be helpful is if Jamie has sufficient tax liability that can be offset by the educational credits, and if so, she will be entitled to claim a personal tax exemption. She will not be entitled to claiming a personal tax exemption, This information coming from the primary authority of regulation 1.25A-1. This applies directly to your case, showing that if Jamie is filing independently and she has a tax liability, she can receive the educational credit. Call me if you have any questions.